Hello there, good afternoon everybody. Can you please let me know if you can see me on Facebook, because I've got a blank screen but lots and lots of comments, so do let me know if you don't mind. Hello sewing friends, so Julia, Sharon, Elizabeth, hello Debbie, Cheryl, Andrea, and lots of you on YouTube. Lisa, Angela, hello. On Facebook we have Jan Laverne, hello Sharon, and Lynn, and Linda, and Anne, and Tina. Now we're going to be, I'm sorry I'm missing loads of you because there's just so many of you here. Hello Zakiah in Michigan, and we see you in upstate New York, says Michelle. Oh, I'm in New York, am I? Hello Brenda in Kentucky, hello to you. You can see me, lovely. Can't see myself, but that's not a bad thing. Hello Angela, Carol, hello to you too. Sunny in Ireland, lovely day here today. Can see and hear me. Okay, thank you Elaine. Just can't see myself. I've got one of those whizzy blue circles on a black background, but as long as it's going out then that's fine. Hi Lisa, how are you? Hello Jennifer in New Hampshire, and Annette in Beaufort. Hi Sheila, Cynthia. Now we're going to have a look at a very basic overlocker in a bit. My Daisy got a pink parcel today, lovely. Hello Sue, and can see me, lovely. Yeah, so we'll have a look at very basic stuff, as in, I'm going to do a little bit backwards because I don't use this very often. It's a 4 thread overlocker, but I only use it with 3 threads. Can you actually see that? Yeah, you can. And that's how it's set up all the time, and I never really change anything. But it doesn't do an awful lot apart from overlock. So I was just thinking, it's a brother machine and it's an entry level, so we'll have a look around that today. And then if you wanted to know a little bit more of advanced things that you can do with overlockers, I do have a more advanced overlocker that Kim uses at the moment, but it's down at the office, so I haven't got it here. So I thought we'd start off with this one, really basic. Hello Leslie, hello Anne. Oh, thank you very much. All is good at short hours, thank you very much Sarah. Hello Helen in Grantham. Oh, Stephanie's got a pink parcel today, delighted with the nursery panel. Only got a few left of the blue ones actually, and that's going to be it. We're not going to be repeating those. And they do still have the free fabric with them, which we shouldn't really be doing, but we did. Right, I've got some new fabrics to show you. I'm not going to spend 40 minutes like we have previously. But you're very lucky to have these 2 fabrics, because they've only arrived about half an hour ago and Kim's here. And I said, oh, these are lovely. She says, yeah, I'm not putting them on the website, they're for me. So you got them on the website, but you're very lucky to get them. You nearly didn't. These are a sateen, so they feel like satin, but it's a polyester spandex, so it's got a little bit of give, not a lot, it's not stretchy. I think it's something like 3% spandex. It's so soft and so incredibly cool and fluid. It's not sheer, it's not transparent, it's not like a viscose, it's a little bit more solid than that. And you can see it's got a plain background. But Kim wanted to make, I think it was a shift dress out of this one. Can't remember what they're called, but have a look under New In on the website. Thank you very much, Sue in Canada. And this is the second one that she wanted to make some trousers out of. So I'm not sure how much we have, but I've got a feeling there's a couple of meters less than we should have if she's been snipping away at it before she put it on the website. Isn't that gorgeous? That is such a really classy, elegant colour. Not the batwing top, Bernadette, it needs to be stretched. It's got spandex in it, but it's not stretchy. But a blouse or a dress, it's just beautiful. And with it being a poly mix, it's not going to crease, it's going to dry really quickly, it's not going to shrink, it's not going to lose its colour. It's just beautiful, but so elegant. I love that colour. It's not really picking it up on the camera here, but it's got a lovely sheen. It's a gold. I called it oyster gold. Gosh, excuse me. And I shall tell you if I weigh. I said to Kim, she said, what colour would you call it? I said, oyster gold. She said, oyster gold? So yeah, I used to have a capri in that colour in the 1980s. I was the bee's knees in that capri, and it was exactly this colour with a brown interior and no headdress, you know, but the oyster gold is the colour to have in a Ford Capri. So that's that one. So I can't remember what they're called, haven't got my phone with me. So just have a look under new arrivals on the website. And that, you're right, it is a beautiful teal colour. You can't order from an email. Didn't do it for me. I don't know what you mean, Carol. You can't order from an email. Can't order from what? Don't know what you mean. Do explain, Carol, because you've ordered from us before. Clicked on the link. Did it have a vinyl? Yes, a brown one, Chris. A brown vinyl roof. I was honest, when I said to my dad, I've seen this Capri that I want to buy. And he said, you could get a brand new Escort for that. I said, yeah, but that's an Escort. This is a Capri. Oh, I just thought I'd arrived. Oh, Sharon had a bright red Capri until it was stolen. Get out of the box and have a play. You can be intimidated with it. Oh, Jane, I think you're talking to somebody else. Sorry. Oh, somebody's got an overlocker that's been in a box for 22 years. Let's hope we can get it out then. But it's just a really... Just these two rolls arrived just before, well, half an hour ago. And Kim was sitting outside sketching, and I brought the rolls out, and I just went, look what you got. These are lovely. She said, oh, no, they're not going on the website. So you're very lucky to get them. She would have nabbed those. Hello, Jane. Oh, sorry, Carol. I was interrupting your conversations. Threading it. I'm going to have a go. So I'm going to work backwards a little bit. But to be honest, I couldn't find the tool to put another needle in. I thought, what is the point in threading it and doing everything if I haven't got the right tools? Then I found it actually in the lid. So we'll do some stitching first, and then I'll thread it at the end just in case it goes horribly wrong. Because it tends to do that when you're live in front of people. It's ever so easy when you're on your own, but when you're doing it in front of people. Hi, Stephanie. I just had an overlock of 2 years and not used it. Hi, Nancy. Right, so that's those two. Do we have, where should I going to put those? Down there. Right, we've got the firm fleece back in stock, lots of it. Okay, just thought I'd show you that. And we've got a brand new range of Simplicity fabrics. And we've got fat quarters. I haven't got those down here with me, but we do have fat quarters. So these are vintage images from Simplicity Patterns. This is the second range that they've done. So not sure what they're called, but have a look on the website. Under new arrivals, you'll find them there. But they just go so well together. Love that blue. Look at those. This is in the days when women had tiny waists. But again, they're all based on genuine Simplicity patterns. From the 1950s, 1960s. So there's a collection of 5 of these. They're Simplicity Vintage, brand new for you today. And just a really lovely collection. We've got these by the ½ metre. And in fat quarters as well, so do have a look at those. They're 100% cotton, they're 112 centimetres wide, and they're just, I just love the images. They're not too big, a good fussy cut if you wanted to. So this one is a non-directional with a stripe in the background. I love the colours on those as well. It's like a deep peach or a rusty kind of colour, and then with a pale blue spot in the background. And then this one is your swimwear. That's called Relax, and it's got this very dainty outline of flowers in the background as well. Hello Helen, welcome along to the Half Yard Club. Glad you got your 3 months. And yellow spots in the background, that's kind of a pale mustardy kind of colour. And then that one's just called Simplicity Vintage. So brand new for you today. We don't have a huge amount of those. So just to let you know. Okay, do we have Laura Harris with us? Because Laura has been asking and waiting for black felt. And we have black felt, so hopefully you've got that, Laura. We've got 2 new colours in the felt. These are packs of 5. Black's not very interesting to look at, I know. I think they're 27 by 33 centimetres if I remember rightly. And we've got green as well. Now these are a synthetic felt, but it's really soft. So normally with the synthetic, I don't like them normally, I like the craft felts because they can pull apart really easily, and they kind of stick to your fingertips. But this is a really nice quality. I wouldn't bring you anything less. So it's really strong. You tend to find with natural felts, which are very soft, but you can pull them apart. They go quite transparent at times. These are really solid. So if you are, like Laura wanted Santa boots, got plenty of Santa boots there. And then you've got the green, which you can use for landscapes. You could use for elf boots, you know, whatever you like. Hello, Mary. Thank you very much. Hi, Jenny. Oh, is Laura? Oh, she's there, isn't she? She's there. Order being placed now, she said. We don't have a lot of stock of those, though. It's something that's quite new to us with felt. We've only been doing it for a few weeks, and although it's been very popular, it's still a little bit testing the water, so we tend to buy small amounts at a time, just in case you don't want it. Right, that's it as far as newness is concerned. Shall we have a look at this overlocker? Now again, this is a basic one. I think it's about as basic as you can get. So it's a brother. I'm not on commission. Normally when you get overlockers home, from what I can remember, they're threaded, or there will be a little bit of thread in there. You don't get the whole cones, but there will probably be some thread running through there. And you can, even if you're changing the colour of your thread, tie knots in the thread here, and then when you pull it through, all of the thread just goes through, so you don't have to worry about what's going on inside here, which can be the scary bit. We'll have a look at that later on. So overlockers can do lots of different things. This doesn't. It overlocks, and that's it. If you're using 4 needles, I'd use 4 needles if I was using heavy fabric, thick fabric, or wanted a really strong seam. For the most, 4 threads. For the most part, I use 3. I use 3 threads, which means 1 needle, so I've taken 1 needle out. Your thread will go through this telescopic bit. That's all part of the tension, so that's really important. Make sure that's as high as it goes. And then it'll go into these tensions, and a lot of them you can actually see the tensions inside there. The tensions are like 2 saucers or 2 plate dishes that are squished together like that. And when you loosen or tighten the tension, it takes them apart or further together. When you first thread your overlocker up, make sure it's on the one that's kind of the average. It's normally 4 or 5, but it'll have a line through it. So always start with all of these all on the same tension. A lot of sewing machine overlockers, not all of them, but the majority of the ones that I've worked with have a specific way of threading the machine. So that'll be in your manual. Always have a look at your manual before you thread it up. With this one, it is this one, that one, that one. So it does have a specific order. Some are from left to right, some will jump a little bit. Some, like the air thread overlockers, it doesn't really matter which way you thread them, but some of them do. They prefer it to be threaded in a specific way. So let's have a look around the front of this, and we'll show you what's going on. Let's just have a catch up with you. Francesca's got a new knee. She's a bionic woman, she says, with 2 new hips and new knees. Might be heading that way one day. Oh, thank you, Jane. Hi, Jane. Received my order from Crate and Craft today of the gingerbread family. Oh, good. They don't come from me. They came directly from the suppliers. Judy's just ordered the Simplicity. What are you going to make? There's so many things. It's like with the first Simplicity fabric, Kim made a pin board with the elastic going across to put notes and things in, and that was really nice. And she made like you know, my mannequin pin cushion, she made one of those out of it as well, and I'm thinking that would be really nice in the sewing room as well. Right, oh hello Eva in Denmark. So this is it. So I'll give you a quick tour around. Again, this is a really simple basic machine. You've got a long presser foot, and that's because underneath there, I'll just lift that up, I don't know if you can see, we have 2 sets of feed teeth. You can't see that, can you? 2 sets of feed teeth. All right, I'll explain why 2 sets later on. Most overlockers should have 2 sets of feed teeth. So I haven't got a lever on the back of this to lift the presser foot up and down. It's on the side here. On the side of the machine, I've got a button to adjust the stitch length, and I've got a button to, or a dial to adjust the differential. Now if you're not aware of what differential is, I said there's two sets of feed teeth. So as the machine is set as standard when you get it home, those two sets of feed teeth feed the fabric through at both of the same rate. The differential button can speed up the first one or slow it down. So that means that if you're speeding up one, it's going to stretch the fabric, and if you're slowing it down, it's going to push the fabric underneath the presser foot so it'll gather. So you can stretch and you can gather, but the idea with the differential is to keep your fabric flat. Different fabrics behave in different ways. You may be sewing something very fine like a voile, you may be sewing a heavier stretch fabric, and they behave differently. So if you do a test piece, and always do a test piece before you start sewing, just make sure that the fabric is flat when it comes through. If it's not, then you can adjust the differential slightly to either pull it apart or push it together to make sure that the fabric's sitting flat. We'll have a play with that in just a bit. Also on the side here, I've got a hand wheel, just like on a sewing machine. Always turn that towards you. So that's really, really simple here. Over here, I've got a stitch width. So the stitch width is basically going to move the blade from one side to another. An overlocker will have a blade, that's it here. This doesn't work when the front's open. If I'm doing anything in here, I'll always switch it off anyway, but this won't work, and most machines shouldn't work when the door is open. But this is a blade. So this is snipping away at the fabric as you're sewing, but this, if you can see that, by adjusting the stitch width, if you notice when I'm turning this, the blade moves from one side to another. So if I wanted a wider stitch, I move the blade further away from the needle. If I want a very small stitch or narrow stitch, I'll move the blade right up towards the needle. This is set on an average of 5, so that's just where I'm going to leave it. Now all of this threading we'll do in a bit. I just wanted to show you some of the different things that you can do, or the different ways of sewing with your overlocker. So when you first get it home, or when you first start a project, and this is important for every project that you do, you don't have to lift the presser foot up every time. You can just lift up the front of your presser foot, and it's kind of sprung in here. So put your fabric underneath there and put your foot down. You'll have a chain of thread that comes off the back. So that's not like with a sewing machine, where a lot of sewing machines don't like to sew with no fabric underneath there. With an overlocker you expect to. This one doesn't have a thread cutter, so I need to cut that. So you'll have a tail of thread at each end, and the idea is that the thread that loops around the edge of the fabric, there's two threads there, that's the upper looper and the lower looper, sit on the edge of the fabric perfectly. Now if they don't, if you find that something's looping, it could be a few things. It'll be a tension issue, but it could be a few things. So if you're straight stitches, so I've got one row of straight stitches on here because I've only got one needle in there. That's laying flat, so that's fine. So I'm not going to touch that. But the loopers that come across here, if you find that the thread on the top isn't sitting right on the edge of the fabric, it could be because one is too loose or one is too tight. So you need to have a play with the tension, and which is the dials on the top here, only in small increments. So adjust one, see what happens, adjust another, see what happens, until you get that perfect. And you'll need to do that for each time you use your overlocker, because you'll be using different types of fabric probably, but always do that test first. Maxine, could you email the website, which is enquiries@debbieshawsewing.com, and just say I forgot to put my discount on there, and we'll have it refunded for you. Okay, that's not too late. Oh, I love it when you chat amongst each other. Interesting to hear. My little worked grand recently, it keeps cutting the threads. Maybe I'll invest in a better one. I would say, Deirdre, I don't know about Lidl's quality. I've never bought anything from there, but I would always buy, like I recommend with the sewing machine, a big brand, because you'll have support. In fact, the first overlocker I ever bought was a Husqvarna, and it came with a free lesson in Nottingham. They had a base in Nottingham. Hi, Kim. And I had like half a day's free course. So do look at, I don't know if they still do that, it was a very long time ago, but do have a look around and see if they do that, because that is actually really useful. You learn a lot of things that you didn't even know that your overlocker could do. Okay, so we're all set up, as in the tension's right, the thread's right on the end, and that's looking really neat. Just to mention, with an overlocker, it is an automatic stretch stitch. We'll have a look at that in just a second, and it's perfect for very fine fabrics. Some overlockers, like my other one, the air threader, will do a rolled hem. This doesn't do a rolled hem, but that's a nice option as well. So that here we're talking really basic, probably the most basic type of overlocker that you can have. Let's have a look at some stretch fabric actually. So I've got some stretch jersey, and again we test first. So let's go for the longest stretch. So let's push this underneath and just see how it looks. Don't push or pull it. Chain it off and cut it. That actually doesn't look too bad. It's not stretched, it's not puckered. I think that would be absolutely fine. I may do a wider stitch on there. But when I was saying about the differential, let's see what happens if we make it looser. So I've turned the dial down. And you can encourage this a little bit, so it's very noisy, by stretching the fabric as well, because now I've got a fluted hem. You can do that even more, but it shows how much the stitch will actually stretch without you doing anything. If we do this the other way, so let's tighten that up and see what happens. So now I'm gathering. So I've gathered on a stretch fabric. Let's see what happens if I gather on a woven fabric. It's not a big gather, but it's got a little bit of gather to it. So if you're doing tiers on skirts or frills around cushion covers, that's a nice way of doing it without you know, hand gathering. If you want it to be tighter, then you'd need to do that, but that's just a nice subtle little gather. Have a play with that. Most of your overlockers should have a differential, and remember, that's what I mean by the front and the back feed teeth feeding at different times. So when it's gathering, the front one is pushing, it's going quicker than the back one, so it's pushing fabric underneath the presser foot, so it's making it gather as you go. So that's that one. Corners are an issue sometimes, and these are quite simple to do as well. So let me just chop off that fabric that I've just gathered. I think I've blunted my scissors somehow. They're not too hot at the moment. Maybe they need tightening up. Okay, so if I have, they're going to change those. These are my paper ones, but oh, that's better. So I'm going to go around a corner in this direction, and there's a couple of ways that you can do that, but this is easy. So all I'm going to do here is to put the fabric underneath, sew down to the end, chain it off, turn the fabric around, lift it up, and then I've got a thread on the end here. Now I've actually sewn over the end of that thread with the second row of stitches, so I can cut that off. If you haven't, then you could thread this through a wide-eyed needle and thread it into the seam allowance. But while we're talking about seam allowances, do be aware that this, if you're dressmaking, you can use this as a seam. I'll show you, it's a perfectly good seam, but you won't have your standard seam allowance. Whoops, there we go. So I know I've done that the wrong way around, but I've got a really strong seam there, but I've only got a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So do bear in mind, if you're dressmaking and you need a 5/8 inch of a seam allowance, you can just use this to finish off the seams, or remember to cut or to measure your seam allowance. You can cut your fabric smaller, or you could use the blade to make your seam allowance smaller on that one as well. That's really important, because otherwise you're going to have a garment that's a little bit bigger than you expected it to be. Okay, so that's a corner that way. Let's have a look if we have a corner that's the opposite way. So I want to overlock this way. Linda, you don't alter the speed on an overlock. Let me see if it will go slower. Doesn't like it too much. You can go slower by regulating the foot pedal. Not tried that before. But you'll find with overlockers, they tend to sew at anywhere between 1100 and 1300 stitches a minute, maybe even more than that, whereas an average domestic sewing machine will sew at about 400, 650 stitches a minute. So it's twice as fast as you'd find a domestic sewing machine as well. So expect it to be quick, but that's all part of the benefit. Because if you're particularly overlocking cushion covers or curtains or dresses, even you've got larger items, it just means that you can get through it a lot quicker. Hello, Janet. Right. So this is the corner that I want to overlock around. I can't overlock a corner like this. I need to make it a straight line. So I'm going to snip into the seam allowance. I'm going into that corner by 1/4 inch. And then I can open it up and make it a straight line. So it will have a slight curve on it when it comes out the other side. Denise, just enough, I'll show you, just enough until you can get it out of the machine really. So let's sew down here. As I'm coming up to that corner, I'm pulling it so it's straight. So that's enough. As long as you can cut it, as long as it's out of the way, you don't have to go miles with it. But then that's been sewn in a straight line, but it will bend into a rather neat corner if you're going to go that way. Let's go to cut the seam so close. No, I just went into the seam allowance, so I haven't gone up to the straight row of stitches. I just cut into the one that's going to be actually overlocked, so that actually sits really nicely when you go around a corner. Hi Raina, alter the speed. Do you think you need to be a bit more of an experienced sewer to use an overlock? Actually, Sarah, no, I don't. I didn't have an overlocker for years. I didn't see the need, and this isn't going to replace your sewing machine, but it does work very well alongside it. And once I bought one, I'll use it as often as I can because it's quick, and it's an awful lot quicker than my sewing machine. When Kim started learning to sew, which was only 7 or 8 years ago, she hasn't been sewing all her life. She wanted to get straight in there and do dressmaking. So she was using the overlocker more than she was using a sewing machine as a beginner, as a learner. So this is one that she learnt on because it was here, and now she's using the air thread overlocker, which we have down at the office because she does most of her work down there now. So no, I don't think you need to be experienced. I think this is really simple. The scariest thing about the overlocker is the threading system, and we'll have a look at that in just a second. But there must be so many tutorials on YouTube that you can have a look through as well. But if you can go to a class and ask the questions, they're really easy machines to use. So no, I don't think you need to be experienced. Nancy's having withdrawal symptoms for not sewing. Made a live call. I think I'll buy a lottery ticket. Oh, no harm in that, is there, Martine? Good luck with that one. Have you demonstrated how to do a curve? Curves, no, it's very similar to doing the overlock, doing the, oops, let's get under there, doing the square. So if you imagine, That's a concave curve. I didn't demonstrate that very well, did I? But I stretched it out to make it straight. So if you've got, now I've got something to follow there. If I just pop that underneath again, pull it out flat. Really easy to make a curve flat. Not the curviest of curves, but you get the idea there. That works really well. And curves in the opposite direction are really simple. Just follow the line. Actually, a curve is a curve, isn't it? I was trying to show the other part of a curve going that way, but it looks exactly the same. But it's really easy to do curves. If you're following the line, just push that the pattern or the guideline underneath the presser foot, and just keep sewing that way. Once you master threading on your overlocker, you're on your way. They have diagrams on the machine, they certainly do, and do have a look in your manual. You'll have diagrams in there, and do have a look on YouTube and see if the manufacturer of your overlocker does their own videos, because that can be really helpful as well. Right, where are we? Shall we have a look at this threading? Okay, so you can't see on the close-up back there, so I'm basically going to cut off all the threads and then run them all through. So grab hold of the chain, and I've pulled all the threads out. So I'm threadless, and let's take off, whoops, I've only got 3 colours, so I think I'm going to take off the white and use that as a needle, and we'll have a red one here and a blue one there, so you can see the job of each one of these. So I've only got as far as the actual threading system down here on the close-up camera, but let's start with this one. Have a look in your manual and see which thread needs to be threaded first, second, etc. So I'm going to go over the first tension here. I'll do that with both of those for now. And then let's have a look down here. So I'm going to switch my machine off while I'm threading. Where's the switch? There you go. And this is the scary bit, which really isn't at all. You should get some tweezers with your overlocker. You're going to need those, okay? So let us actually just double check which ones I'm going to do first. I think it might be the blue one first on the end. So I should have checked that beforehand. It's different ways with different overlockers. All of the threading systems, you need to follow them through. When you come to the tension, I'm sorry you can't quite see that there. You may see the disc, the tension disc inside here, but take your thread and feed it in there until you can feel that it's engaged. So I'm pulling that from the top and the bottom, and I can feel that that's trapped between the tensions. And then I'm going to follow the lines. So I'm going to take it around here, so through to number 5, and then number 6, number 7, over here, number 8 goes around there. And then for number 9, with this machine, I have a lever here. And when I use this, I'm just going to move the needle position. That's it. So needle up, because the next thread needs to go through the eye of this little bit here. But when I've moved this lever over, this kind of sticks out and offers that to me. So this is where your tweezers will come in handy, and I'm going to move this over, take my thread and follow it around that bar there. This is the tricky bit on a lot of overlockers. Sorry, I'm trying to do this so you can see and you really can't. Is getting into these little bits that you can't actually see. In you go. See why I left this bit till last? Let me try with the tweezers. Come here, tweezers. If you can stretch to an air thread overlocker, they're an awful lot easier to thread than these are. There we go. No, it's not. It's popped out again. Oh! I was trying to make this look really simple for you, and I'm just making it look really messy, aren't I? So I'm not even good at seeing. My eyesight isn't too good. Got you. In there. Pull that around. And then the end of the thread I'm just going to cut off to make it flat. Goes through the eye of this little bit here. So there's a hole in there. So again, take your tweezers and push it through. I thought this was going to be such a good idea. In you go. This machine doesn't have a needle threader either, just to warn you. We may be a while. I'm doing this. I am going to sit here and I'm going to completely thread this up. Mark my words. A little bit of hairspray on the end of that would have worked well. In you go. Do chat amongst yourselves while I try and get this thread through that rather large eye. At least you saw some sewing with it first. Okay, we got it. Whoops. So then I'm going to take that thread and push it through to the back. So it's out of the way. Okay, so that's number one gone through. Then we'll do the red one. So again, push it in between the tension. And then I'm following the green line. So around number 5. Number 6 is under there. There's number 7. I didn't take that one through there, did I? Where have you gone? Pull you back through there. And then there's number 8. And this one is going to go through this eye here. So again, you may find, gosh, excuse me. You may find tweezers helpful just to thread. I've got my hands in front of everything. You'll probably find some very good videos on YouTube on how to thread up your machine that have got better camera angles than I have. So that's gone through there. Pull it through to the back. And I'm going to take that underneath the foot so the threads are all at the back. Okay, so that's those two done. That's the bottom loop as threaded. If this doesn't work first time, I'm not doing it again, okay. Through to the back, off you go. So I can close that up and then threading the needle. I've only got one needle in there at the moment, so let me push another one in. You'll find a tool to change the needle, which mine's inside here, which is a little bit like an Allen key. So which needle have I got there? The needles will be at different heights, so expect that. So I'm just going to loosen the screw here. And push in my second needle. Some of your machines will come with a little tool that will hold the needle as you're pushing it in. So I'm going to try and use my tweezers. Just move that down. Just moving the looper out of the way while I push this in. So the needle on the right hand side will be, whoops, slightly lower than the needle on the the left hand side. I know my hand's in the way, but we'll have a look at that in just a second. Okay, so this needle is slightly lower than this needle, and the reason for that is that your machine is travelling so quickly, it sews at such a high speed that if both needles hit at the same time, it could pucker the fabric. So you get like a chisel effect by having one going in before the other. So don't think that you put the needle in wrong, that's fine. If you're only sewing with 3 needles, when you unscrew a needle to take them out, because it'll come to you with 2 needles in there, put some white paper or something underneath there so the needle doesn't drop right inside the machine. And when you've unscrewed the screw, screw it back up again, because those screws are really tiny, they're very easily lost, and they're very difficult to get hold of. So make sure it's screwed right in, because the vibration vibrations of the machine could actually shake it back out again. So that's that one. And what I also do, if I'm taking a needle out to sew, and you can remove either needle, I'll stick it in the thread here, so I know that that needle is that thread, so when I come to put it back in again, that's where it came from. So taking needles out, the only difference that makes is the width of your stitch. So if you're using just the right hand needle, you're going to have a smaller stitch than just using the left hand needle, you'll have a wider stitch. That's the only difference there. But let's see what happens when we've got both needles on the go. This is going to be fun. Maybe a while. So again, this machine doesn't have needle threaders. A lot of overlockers will have a needle threader that you can move from one side to another to accommodate both needles. So basically, the more you spend on one, the more features you're going to get. So through the tensions, just like before, following this time the red line for number 4 down to here. Let me move that out of the way and just make a clear space to thread the needle through. So just cut the end of the thread to make it flat. Peggy's belly laughing, is it that funny? And then thread. So a needle threader is very handy when you're doing twin needles like this. There we go. That goes through to the back. And then the final thread, again, I'm sorry you can't see the top of this. I couldn't get quite wide enough with my camera. Goes in there, around the tension, down this tension, follows the same route around, but then goes into the second needle. Now remember, if your machine is already threaded when you get it home, you need never actually do this. As I said right at the top, if you might have just a few little loose bits of thread, chop them off and tie on your new ones. Make a really tight small knot, trim away any loose ends, and then when you pull all of this thread through, it should bring the new thread through, so you'll never have to actually do this. If you've got an air threading machine, and we'll maybe have a look at that another time, then you won't have to go through all that either. They're so much easier to use. Anne's recently unthreaded hers, vacuumed it, changed the needle and rethreaded, then picked up a second-hand one and threaded to test and cleaned it, then rethreaded. Good idea. Funny with bad sight, I have 3 different eye problems. I'm really getting this. Yeah, everything goes a little bit fuzzy when it comes to threading. I can see you okay, but fuzzy when it comes to threading needles. Remember to order your thread your overlocker. That's a good idea, putting a sticker on there. Have a look in your manual, it'll tell you which order to thread it in, thread it through. So Gina puts 1, 2, 3, 4 on the front of her overlocker, so she doesn't have to look on the manual each time. That's a good idea. Right. I'm not going to rethread it all if this doesn't work first time, so let's here's fingers crossed. Phew, okay. So now we can see exactly what's going on with the thread. So I've got 2 white stitches. You see this is curved a little bit. The differential needs adjusting slightly. I've got 2 rows of white thread, so that's my 2 needle threads, and then my blue thread and my red thread. Let me just see actually if I can find a piece of plain fabric. Should have bought white, shouldn't I? Oh, that's a bit creased up, but you should be able to see a little bit better on this, so bear with me a second. Never found my mini iron, by the way. I bought another one. Right, let's see how that works. So this is 2 needles. Shove it under the end there. That's it. Now you can see the difference. Well, you can't see the white stitches. I've got 2 rows of white stitches. I've got a blue looper thread and a red looper thread, and that's sitting really nicely because they're meeting right on the top of the fabric. That's without adjusting any of the tensions whatsoever. Still trying after months, says Fee. Keep trying. Once you've done it, you'll be kicking yourself for not doing it more. So the only difference between the 2-thread overlocking and the 1-thread, so this is a 1-thread overlock that we started on. The stitch is the same width and everything, but this one's got that second row of stitches along here. So that's just got 1 needle thread. This one's got 2 needle threads. That makes it a little bit stronger. That one I'd use if I was using heavier fabrics. This one with the 3 needles I would use for most things. So I hope that's explained a little bit. And again, if you do find it's a little bit tight, it's curving a little bit, that's not necessarily the tension, that could be the differential. So I'm just going to loosen it ever so slightly and just see if I can get the fabric to lay out a little bit flatter by doing that. That looks loads better to me. That's really laying nice and flat now. So that's that. Okay, again, that's a basic overlocker. Gosh, excuse me, I've got a really dry throat. Excuse me. Not very nice, is it? A coffee now. I think I need a gin, Helene. I'm just amazed that worked first time. I'm threading all of this thinking this is taking ages. I'm probably making it look an awful lot more difficult than it actually is. And if it doesn't work, then I'm just going to look really silly, aren't I? So I'm quite relieved. Lidl was under £100. Singer under £100. I think this one is about 150. Just make sure you get a warranty. I know they're Singer, but has it got a Singer warranty? That's the most important thing. Singer are brilliant at customer service. They have, I think they're based in London, and they've got a really good customer service. You can phone them up, but just make sure that Lidl have that same deal. I would really check on that. I'm not, dissing them. I've never used them. I don't know, but just make sure that there's a helpline. That's why I like big brands, because you know that you can phone somebody and you're going to have help there if you need it. Yeah, Sophie, it depends what you're doing. Gin in the water. Yeah, neat gin, that one. Bernadette, absolutely. If you're doing a lot of sewing, if you're doing dressmaking, definitely I think it's worth the investment. If you're making to sell, you get a much more professional finish. If you're making cushion covers, for instance, and they don't have a lining, when whoever buys them turns them inside out, or they go to wash them, or they take the cushion pad out, they're going to see a frayed seam on the inside. If you see an overlock seam, it looks a lot more professional, and it means that your seams are going to be stronger and last longer because they're not going to fray so much. So things that are going to be washed a lot, maybe baby clothes and bibs and things like that, then definitely worth the investment. If you're just going to be doing, if you're quilting, you don't need an overlocker if you're quilting. If you're just making bags and small items like that, you don't need an overlock. I wouldn't spend the money on it. But dressmaking, curtains, or selling, then yes, definitely, I think it's worth the investment. Lisa's talking to somebody else. Can you see bag seams? Can you sew bag seams together with? Yes, you can, Jilly. It's a really strong seam. I would just be aware that you're sewing with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So if you're following a pattern, then just be aware of that. But yeah, no problem for bag making at all. It'll be a really strong seam. But even with a basic machine like this, you can adjust the stitch length. So if you needed to make the stitch smaller, then you can do. If you need the width a little bit wider, then you can adjust that as well. So that's worth doing there. Oh, sorry, Lisa. How old is he? She? Tango. Oh. Anne's got a 3-year warranty with the brother. Brother are good at that, aren't they, with 3-year warranties? Because most of the big boys give you a 2-year warranty. Rosina's going to save up for an air threader. My air threader cost £850. I'm sure you can get them for less. Actually, I've got an Elna air threader. What was the one that we did on Sewing Street? I think it was a Juki, and it was a lot better. I can say that now because I'm not on Sewing Street. My air threader has a lever on it, which is fine. So when...
Did somebody say neat gin?
Yeah, they think I'm drinking neat gin because I had a swig of water.
Well, here's your neat gin.
Oh, is that neat gin?
Yeah, it's hot.
All right, I like a bit of hot. Oh, nice. Oh, yes.
It's anybody else? Or are you on your own?
Don't ask them. You'll be out of gin and whiskey and wine and everything. They're a boozy lot, this lot, you know.
Did you get them off the street?
20, oh my gosh, 20 what? 20 what? Oh, no, the cats. Wow. Mind you, we're good at old cats. We had two that lived till 21. They both died last year. The other one was 16, so he was a baby. Our oldest cat was 26. I know. I think he died about 5 years before we buried him. He stunk. But yeah, 26 years old. Give it a go. Make sure you're going to use it before. Yeah, absolutely, Laura. That's very good advice. Peggy wants Baileys in a coffee. I just skip the coffee. Just have the Baileys intravenously. Beverly wants. See, I told you what you started now. Tia Maria for Beverly. Tia Maria. Right, I told you the right boozy lot. And it's only 5 to 5. They're gone already. I know. Don't know. Yeah. And but Denise only wants cappuccino. She's a lightweight. Yeah. She hits the hard stuff later. Cherry Pepsi. Cherry Pepsi. I don't think I've ever tasted it. The thought when it first came out of cherry flavour. I imagine it tasting like, you remember the cherry lipstick that we used to wear? You're probably too young for that. But yeah, cherry flavoured lip gloss with a rollerball on the end of it. And I just imagine a drink tasting like that. Black coffee for Lisa. She's in denial. Air threader does have the threading for you. Yeah, I was saying, I'll show you, this isn't an air threader. But on my Elna, when it comes to doing this business, you put these two threads into 2 holes and then you pump the side and it goes bang, 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 bang. And it literally pumps air through until it comes out the other side. With the Juki one, there was a button at the side and it just went tick, 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 and just automatically threaded it. So I thought for the same price, the Juki was a bit better value because it was all electronic rather than have to go bang, 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 bang. But that's I mean, bam, bam, bam's fine, it works. But tick, 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 tick was a lot more impressive. And it had more features on it. I'm not that knowledgeable about all of these different functions and things that overlockers do because I basically use them with my air threader. That's what I do with it. You know, I don't do all of the gathering. You can get different feet for them as well. You can do all kinds of things. But on the one on my air threader, I do rolled hem, so I'll show you that at some point as well. Natalie's loving today's stream. Can't wait for Debbie's Christmas party. I'm going to be with you on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day this year. Baby Sham. Oh, Angela, I can remember. I'd love it now, I think. When I went to visit my grandma, when I must have been about 10, I didn't like my grandma. They're boring. Anyway, and they were all being grown up and having grown-up drinks. So obviously, Mum and Dad were there as well. And my grandma said, "What would you like to drink?" And Baby Sham. Oh, I was so ill. I think most of it went into a plant because I daren't admit that I didn't like it. And the rest of the evening, I was just, so poorly. But I thought it was so grown up to ask for a Baby Sham. That showed me, didn't it? That showed me. I was very ill on brandy and Baby Sham. I was very ill. It sounds like alcohol has been a big part of my life. I went to a wedding reception. I'd be about 10. And I'd had an inoculation for scarlet fever. And it was a kind of a help yourself bar thing. I can't remember whose wedding was that. Must have been some cousin or other. And I thought I'd help myself to cider because I thought it was pop because it tasted like pop. I got that and the needle. I was so drunk. I was throwing up all over the place. I was telling my sister, "I love you. I love you." And I haven't touched cider since. Baby Sham with cocktail cherries. Sue. Sue. Oh, do you remember that film? That was one of my favourite ones. What was it called? Abigail's Party. Have you seen that? I loved that film. Top Up Sue. If you haven't seen that is well worth a film well worth watching. It's quite odd at the end, but it was so funny because it was so true. Yeah, sorry, Overlocker. It's your surges over there, aren't you, Patty? A wicked lady. This is a wicked lady. What's it? Cherry bean cider. Honestly, you lot. Yeah, it was a fabulous film, wasn't it, Sue? It was a fabulous film, wasn't it, Sue? If you haven't seen it, you're going to be wondering what on earth we're talking about. When I got married, we gave everyone a glass of baby cham. When they came to the reception, they thought it was champagne. Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? I suppose it was Prosecco, wasn't it? We'd call it nowadays, but it must that was like, you know, imitation champagne. Always bottles of snowballs, die. Cherry bee, cherry bee, cherry bee, ripe I cry. Remember the advert? And I'm going to get I sang. Facebook have this thing, if you break into song they mute you. That might be muted later. Bottles of snowballs with the avocado and what was in them? Yellow stuff like custard. Cherry bee is Mum's favourite. Do they still do cherry bee? Julie, these are Jewel. These are the ones we sell on the website, the precision ones. Those are left and right-handed as well. Hi Pamela. Oh, you've missed so much. We've overlocked, searched and got drunk. That's what we've done today. What was the name of the film? Abigail's Party. Yeah, well, it's really funny. It's not meant to be well, I don't know if it is meant to be a comedy actually. Who was the actress? Can't remember her name. The Christmas show with Debbie we pre-recorded, subtitles are Debbie we under the table by 2 p.m. Christmas Eve. That's about it, Lisa, yeah. Avocado, lime and lemonade, that's Snowball, thanks Di. Janet's got a bottle of cherry bee. Yeah, Helene, I started writing some Christmas quiz questions, and then I did the Seamless Sunday on Crate and Craft, and they used them all up. It was quite nice. I've got to start all over again, and I've got another. Alison Steadman, that was it, Sharon. Thank you. I've got another Seamless Sunday at the end of October, and then there'll be another one at the end of November. So I might be out of questions. Thanks, Natalie. Yeah, thanks, Sharon. Lisa's going to stick with soda. Yes, there will be a quiz. So anyway, I was telling you, wasn't I? A Christmas Eve is a Saturday, and that is the last Saturday of the month. So it's going to be the Half Yard Club Sew Along. They did rearrange it because it's Christmas Eve. And I said, doesn't matter. It's a Saturday morning. I should be here anyway, whether Christmas Eve or not. And then, did I say spent my birthday with about 8 quite handsome? No, Nancy. Who are these 8 quite handsome young men? I'm old but not blind or dead, she says. You have to be able to make that noise when threaded. Did I make a noise? Oh, with the yeah, you have to make the noise with the tick 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 if it's electronic, and then dum 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 if it's it helps if it's a manual one. Yeah. Sheila loved Abigail's Party. Getting more panels. Which panels is it, Julie Jones? Which ones are you after? Is it the baby ones? Because they've gone. I did put a note on this morning. We had a few back, but they've gone. Julie Jones, drop me an email and let me know. We are getting some back from. I won't know till next month about the baby ones, but there are a few of the Beach Hut panels coming back from Crate and Craft. Maybe next week. I'm going to Thailand on holiday on Christmas. Oh, nice. Laura's going to have a sewing withdrawal. I don't think you'll have a withdrawal if you're in Thailand on holiday. That kind of thing, Lisa. Yeah, that kind of thing. And Nancy, I will. I certainly will. No, Lisa, I'm here anyway. You have when you've got kids. I was the same when I was younger. You have turns, so you go to your parents one year and their parents the next year. And I think this year is the year where they all go somewhere else. So me and Gary are on our own. So I thought may as well come and join you on Christmas Day as well. Might even do it twice. Did it twice last year. So one in the morning and one later on in the afternoon. Yeah, maybe. We have the baby panels. Big bundle apron, 1 metre. Oh, I tell you what we have got coming in. We've got Rita watching in America. You there, Rita? Remember the fabric bundles that we did on Crate and Craft with my Garden Birds fabric, the 1 metre bundles. Got what they didn't sell of those. I didn't think I'd be able to get any of those because it's an older fabric, and they were given to, well, they were sold to Create and Craft, and then they sold out, but I've got some of those coming in. Don't know when. Jean sent an email about Glamalura. It needs 6 metres. Is that the black one? Kim's at the office tomorrow, so I'll ask her to measure up what's left. We normally leave a little bit on the end of the roll. We don't put in stock every single inch that we've got, just in case it's not cut square or straight. Or and that's my resting day after Christmas Eve. Oh, see you then sleepy cat. Yeah, so we might have a little bit left, but I'll get her to measure it while she's down there tomorrow. If you do have any questions or anything regarding anything from the website, could you email the inquiries at, that's the email that's on the website, because I do get quite a few questions on YouTube and Facebook and I don't pick them up. And if you leave me a message on Facebook, I don't necessarily pick them up for a few weeks. I'm not too hot on that. YouTube particularly, because I get so many messages, like hundreds. I know I've said before, but you imagine I've got, I think, 420 videos on there, and the messages when I go onto my portal come up all in one big row. So I don't look at that video and look at the messages. All the messages come up in one big row. So if one person leaves one message on every video, that's 420 messages that I'm getting all in one big long row. So apologies if I don't get back to you on those. Yes, Nancy, perfect for a kid's jumpsuit. Absolutely. Sateen, the sateen that we've got. I'm going to show you this again because it's gorgeous. I forgot about that. It's a satin finish to a fabric that isn't actually satin. So it's got a sheen. So it looks like satin, it feels like satin, it's as heavy as satin, it's got a sheen like satin, it doesn't fray like satin, it's polyester with a little bit of spandex in it. So it has all of the attributes that you expect from satin, but it's a lot nicer to wear and it's a lot nicer to work with as well. So that's what that is. Who likes a little bit of Christmas? You can join me if you're not doing anything on Christmas Day. I know it's a while off yet, but do pop along. I love a bit of a Christmas sewing chat. Yeah, come and join me, Doreen. I normally do 11 o'clock in the morning. I think I only did one last year because it was our turn, so we had everybody here. But in fact, the girls, my 2 granddaughters, opened the show, if you like, with "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." Do you remember that? They were both sitting on my knee. I don't think they realised that they were actually being viewed by the nations, but yeah, they sang Happy Christmas to everybody, which is lovely. But I think I only did one last year, but as we're on our own all day, may as well do 2. So we'll do 11 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe the same questions in the quiz, but you know, it's more about the company, isn't it? Kelly made our own version of the baby tote for her grandniece's baby shower. Nice. Oh, lovely. I love a bit of Christmas sewing. Oh, sorry. That was Doreen. I flicked back so it's not winding on. Laura's got some vintage Hong Kong brocade. Withering to take that with me to go. That's a nice idea. Oh, Anna's going to be there on Christmas Day. Thank you. Will there be a sewing chat? I don't make anything. It's a bit like this. We just talk. But I do. There will be a ditty. I will have to have a new ditty for Christmas. And we do a quiz, and there may be prizes. Not a lot, but there'll be some prizes, but it's more like having a little bit of fun. Bernadette wants a ditty soon. Some of us go to church in the morning. Well, I'll be there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon as well, Mary. Linda loves the Christmas Day chats. And we have a story as well. I need to write a story. Got plenty of time. Maybe I'll write a story with... oh, thanks, Lisa. With photos like we did the first time. Do you remember that one? Right. Shelley's going to be there on Christmas Day. Helene's going to be there. Oh, I want to show you this. Oh, just before we go. I've got so many cables. I've got a camera over here now, so I've got so many cables I can't whiz backwards and forwards. So I'm just going to limbo. Oh, I'll show you this one. There's a sew along on Saturday on the Half Yard Club Facebook page and here on YouTube. Maddie Christmas story. That's a nice idea. We're just doing this Saturday. Saturday sew along. It's a drawstring bag with pockets at the front, pockets at the back. Looks like it's got a square base, but it's boxed off and it's fully lined as well. So it's quite a quick, nice make. But I'm thinking drawstring bags normally for Christmas and birthdays and gifts and things like that. I'm thinking more storage with this one, so you can keep maybe fat quarters and bits and bobs, and then you've got pockets around the edge that you can keep your sewing bits and bobs in as well and use it for storage. I have put on Facebook and I've messaged subscribers on YouTube the materials that you need, so if you do want to have a sew along with me, then there you can get everything all cut out and ready to go. Nearer next Christmas than last. Leslie's going to be there. Never found the Ditty book, Sheila, but I think I've rewritten most of them anyway. Who else have we got? Right, is your iron in there? I wish it was. I bought a new one. Want to do a drawstring advent bags. That's a nice idea with the advent panel fabric. Send us a picture. Hello, Patricia from Cape Breton. I don't know where that is. Is that in South Africa? So I've lost all your comments on Facebook. Sarah says, thank you, Debbie, for persevering with the threading. It's been interesting. I've learnt a lot. An overlocker is definitely no one for consideration. Thank you. Can't make Saturday. Standing in for a friend on a farmer's market. Oh, I hope your weather's going to be nice, Sue. Helene, if you have a look, it doesn't always work, but it is. If you subscribe to my channel, which I'm sure you do, I send a message out to everybody. You should have got an email, but it doesn't always work. That's not my fault, it's YouTube, but I do send a message out. But if you have a look on Facebook, I don't think you have to be a member of Facebook to have a look. It's on my Facebook page and on the Half Yard Club Facebook page as well, and there's a long list there. Sarah, you can't do that on YouTube, but you can do that on Facebook, or you can email me on the enquiries at email address on the website. Watch every live, but tonight I thought, hello Ruth! Is that the first time you said hello? Welcome along, she watches every live, but I just thought I'd say hello today. Oh, I'm glad you did, thank you. I love it when you come and join in and say hello. Helene doesn't have Facebook. I don't know where else to put it, Helene. I'm sure you can look. I don't. Let me know, anybody that knows. Can you look at Facebook without joining Facebook? Looking here today, finally feeling able to check. Oh, good. I'm glad you're getting better, Lisa. Where else can I put that then? Email me. Email the enquiries at email address. I can't find my basket demo. What basket demo, Julie? Basket demo. Yeah, Helene, email me and I shall. I'll send you the details of what you need. Where do I find demonstrations for a baby shower bag? I don't know. I haven't done a baby shower bag, Maureen. And the only nappy bag is in a book. I've got a book called Sew Baby, and there's a diaper bag or nappy bag in there as well. I don't think. Oh, okay. A seam ripper. Rosina, that's a good one. A seam ripper story. Do you know, when I was on Crate and Craft, I've got such a sore throat, on Sunday, I don't know if you saw the show, but Hayley West was there with a seam ripper that was like it's got a blade in it, like a scalpel type of thing. She gave me one. I haven't put it together yet, but I thought that sounded really interesting. She says it's so sharp it cuts through the stitches but not the fabric. When I'm thinking if it's so sharp it's going to cut through everything, isn't it? So I'll have a try at that and let you know what I think. Bit wise, I need to practice. See you Saturday, Linda. I ought to go really, hadn't I? I have all my gosh, excuse me, such a sore throat. I've got all the grandchildren here. I'm supposed to be babysitting. I've got 3 little ones running around out there. They are being supervised. I'm not being a very bad grandmother. But yes, I ought to go and play with them. I've got all the grandkids and the granddog as well. We've got a house full for 3 days. It's brilliant. Okay, so I should pop off. So I'll see you again Saturday for the sew along if you're free. 11 o'clock in the morning UK time, so it'd be nice to see you. Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, Laura. I will ask. I will try it. Love the baskets with the clips on any demos. So that is on YouTube. That was one of the sew-alongs actually. I can't remember what it's called, but yes, take ibuprofen, paracetamol, and honey and lemon and gin. Yes. Thank you. Right. Okay, so I'll see you again on Saturday morning. If you can join me then, that would be jolly nice. Remember, it'll be on YouTube, as you are now, but it'll be on the Half Yard Club Facebook page on Saturday morning as well. Angela can't make Saturday morning going with the hubby. Oh, that'll be nice. See you Saturday, Helene. Martine's new to the Half Yard Club as well. Welcome along. I am thoroughly enjoying my grandma time. I'm not looking forward to tonight because Littland still wakes up in the middle of the night. I'm not very good at that, but we'll be fine. I'll just be exhausted. Get it out the box, Linda. Just get it out the box. Get it out the box. Have put your parcel by the way. That'll be going out on Saturday. Okay, right, you go first. Go on, you hang up first. I'll see you again Saturday. Thanks for your company today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye bye.